Hello friends and welcome to English Factory. Today we are gonna do class 12 Flamingos Poetry 2, an elementary school classroom in a slum. The poem written by Stephen Spender describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in the society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of an elementary school which is situated in a slum area. Now, what is an elementary school? It is a primary school where children are taught between the ages of 5 and 13. The poet wants to draw the attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. The poem has been written in a free verse. It doesn't have a rhyme scheme. Before we start understanding the poem, let's first read about the poet. Stephen Spender was a poet and English essayist. Spender had a keen interest in politics and so he declared himself as socialist and pacifist. His work concentrated on themes of social injustice and class struggle. Let us now read the central theme of the poem. Stephen Spender highlights the plight of slum children by using vivid images and apt words to picture a classroom in a slum. Through this, he touches in a subtle manner the themes of social injustice and inequalities. Spender believes it is poverty that has caused the student in an elementary school classroom in a slum, and this poverty is created through the oppressive power of capitalism. Let's get started with the poem now. Far, far from gusty waves, these children face like rootless weeds, the hair torn around their paler, the tall girl with her weighed down head. Here, the poet describes the children who study in an elementary school which is set up in a slum area. The poet says that the faces of these children are dull and without any energy. They are not full of energy like other kids of their age. These children are compared to unwanted weeds. Here, the poet wants to say that these children seem to be unwanted like the unwanted weeds which grow on their own in the fields. They are considered to be the unwanted part of the society. Their hair is not neatly done. It falls on their pale faces as if they have been torn apart. The children are untidy. They haven't combed their hair. Then he describes a tall girl who seems to be burdened by poverty. Her head is bent, maybe because of tiredness or shame. The paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lessons from his desk. Here, the poet further explains that there is another boy who is so weak and thin that he has been compared to a sheet of paper. The boy's eyes reflect greed and he wants to achieve everything. Then he describes another student who is physically disabled. The poet says that this boy is unlucky because he inherited a disease from his father due to which he has deformed body. Instead of getting any facility from his father, he has received a disease inherited. This disabled boy is seen reciting his lesson from his desk. Next, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. Here, the poet talks about a small boy who was sitting at the back of the class in dim, dark area. He was not much visible to the poet due to darkness. The poet could see his eyes, which were bright and full of a dream. He was not paying attention to the class. It seemed as if he was rather interested in playing with squirrels in the tree house. Moving on to next stanza. Our sour cream walls donations, Shakespeare's head cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. The poet describes the walls of the school. They are cream in color like the color of sour cream. This means the walls are not clean. They have not been painted recently. The walls are covered with different charts and images that must have been donated by different people. There is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. His head, which is bald, looks like the rising sun at the horizon. At the time of daybreak, the sun is rising at the horizon and is semicircular like a dome shape. It seems to be behind all the cities. Next, Belt Flory Troilus Valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. The poet here describes a picture of the famous Troilus Valley, which has beautiful flowers. There is the image of a map which helps all in its own way. But for these children, the map of the world is irrelevant because the slum where they live is different from what is shown in the map. The world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom, that is the slum. Moving on to next stanza, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in, with a lead sky far, far from rivers, capes and stars of words. The poet further explains that these children's future is full of darkness. Their future is compared to a narrow street, which means that there is no wide scope available for their future growth. These children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. The poet further says that these children living in the slum area have faced so many hardships that they feel every other person to be their enemy. For them, Shakespeare is an evil man. They don't find the map to be a good thing. They were never loved or liked by anyone. Therefore, they almost hate everyone. Their desire of being loved by others forces them to steal. Next stanza is, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night. The poet says that these children live in very small homes and they have started adjusting to it. Their life is going towards an endless night. This means that the future is full of darkness. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel. These kids are so thin that one can easily see their bones through the thin layer of skin. Their skin is like the thin layer of cloth, and the bones beneath are visible through the skin. These kids suffer from malnutrition. They wear spectacles which are made of steel. They are very cheap and very uncomfortable. With mended glass like bottle bits on stones, all of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. Here, the poet explains, even the lines in the spectacles are repaired. The spectacles look like stones which have been repaired with pieces of glass sticking out of them. Here, the poet tries to explain that these kids have to face so many hardships in their lives. As these slums are getting bigger, they will destroy the future of these children, and it is very difficult for such kids to escape from them. Moving on to next stanza. Unless governor, teacher, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. The poet says that the government should take notice of the problems being faced by these kids. He appeals them to change the life of these kids and make the world map a reality for them. there is a need to break the restrictions which are put on them due to poverty and lack of resources. Coming on to the last stanza. Break, oh break, open till they break the town, and show the children green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open. History is theirs whose language is the sun. In the last stanza, the poet says, there is a need to break the restrictions which are put on them due to poverty and lack of resources. He wants the governor and the public to help these kids in achieving their dreams, as this will take them away from fog to azure sky. The poet here wants to say that in this way the kids can be taken away from the darkness of their present to a bright future. He wants these kids to experience the sands and the beauty of nature, as this will lead to a desire of gaining knowledge. They will then go through the white and green leaves. Here, white leaves depict books and green leaves depict nature. This will then result in their progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. Let us now see what figure of devices are used in this poem. Simile. Children are compared with rootless weed, like rootless weed, like bottle bits on stones. These two are simile which are used in poem. Next, paper seeming boy, sour cream walls, narrow street sealed with a lead sky, cramped holes, the white green leaves open. These are the metaphors which are used in the poem. Paper seeming boy means boy is compared with the paper as he is thin. Sour cream walls are described to be dull as sour cream. Narrow street sealed with a lead sky, which means the future of the kids is described as limited. Cramped hole means their homes are very small, like holes. The white green leaves open, which means books and nature are expressed in form of white and green leaves. There are three more literary devices used in the poem, that is repetition, which means use of far to stress on the distance. Assonance, that is repetition of vowel sound E in the words such as belt, flurry, trellis, valley. Then the last is allusion, which means reference to well-known person or place. Here in the poem Shakespeare Head, Trellis Valley, that means allusion is used in these lines. Let us now see the important questions of this poem. Question number 1. What change does the poet hope for in the lives of the slum children? Answer. The poet wishes for a better life for the children of the slums. They should have access to education because education is the key to prosperity. They should be given countless opportunities to explore the world. They need to break free from the confines of their weak world into a world which should welcome them with open arms. The self-centered attitude of the affluent classes should be broken to relieve the children from all misery. Question number 2. How does the poet describe the classroom walls? Answer. The walls of the classroom are pale and dirty. They are decorated with the donated picture of Shakespeare, a scene depicting buildings with domes, a world map, and beautiful valleys, which stand in sharp contrast to the dingy, dismal, and gloomy atmosphere in which these slum children live. Question 3. What message does Stephen Spender convey through the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum? Answer. The poet wants that the children of the slums should get rid of their dismal lives. They should be educated and brought out from their ugly surroundings. He feels that it is the responsibility of the affluent classes to free these poor children from the life of hunger and misery. Moving on to next question. Question 4. What does the poet wish for the children of the slums? Answer. The poet wants that the children of the slums should break free from the rut of their dreary existence. They should experience nature at its best as well as frolic around in a carefree manner. They should be educated and be able to transform themselves. Moving on to last question. Why does the poet Stephen Spender call the map a bad example? Answer. The map represents the beautiful and wonderful world outside. However, this world is beyond the reach of the slum children. Their hopes and aspirations are confined to their world of despair and diseases. So, Stephen Spender calls the map a bad example. Now I come to an end of today's lesson. Kindly like, share and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for notification. Follow our Instagram ID, the link is in the description box. Waiting for your valuable comment. Thank you and stay blessed.